Okay, this is August 8th, 2025, and we're interviewing Alice Shue about her memories of her mother.
When I finish hanging these clothes, you children are going to get a switching. I was 3 years old, and my brother Ed, the other culprit in trouble, was 5. We had just tried out some of the words we had heard our dad say. We got the switching, and it discouraged us from trying any of Daddy's words for all time. I don't think Mom could have raised all we kids without a peach orchard or at least a peach tree nearby. Those words, when I finish hanging these clothes, you children are going to get a switching, were the first words I can remember my mother ever saying to me. Alice, what do you think? If you got a letter from a boy that started Dearest Alice or Dear Alice, which would mean the most? Of course I said Dearest. I'd gotten such a letter the day before. And then Mom said, well, Dearest Alice might sound as if he had another dear somewhere. Those were the last words my mother ever spoke to me. I was 17 years old, and my mother died of a cerebral hemorrhage on February the 21st, 1946. In between those times, I could fill pages with stories about Mom. Married 1 month short of her 17th birthday and a mother 2 months before her 18th birthday, she continued to have babies, 12 in all, until she was 43 or 44 years old. I figured this out one time, and she was pregnant 11 times, once with twins. She was pregnant for 8 1/4 years of her life. Mother arose at 4:30 every morning in order to have a fire built in the wood cook stove and breakfast on the table by 6. This meant coffee, hot cereal, bread and gravy, and eggs. There was no dried pre-sweetened cereal as is popular today. After the older children were off to school, her days were full of caring for young ones, baking 6 to 9 loaves of bread from scratch every other day. Laundry water was heated on the wood stove, washing on a scrub board in one galvanized tub and rinsing in another. The laundry was hung to dry outside both winter and summer, and on rainy days behind the cook stove, on wires that was strung from one side of the kitchen to the other. There was no running water, electricity, or inside bathroom, just a path out to the little house with the moon cut in the door. Ironing was done on a padded board laid across the back of two kitchen chairs. She cooked 3 meals a day for a large family, and there was no fast food, unless you counted Sunday evening when we always had popcorn and apples. She sewed all our clothes, including the boys' shirts and the smaller ones' pants as well. Most of these were made from hand-me-downs that she washed and turned inside out so the wearer did not show so much. When we were small, she made our coats, our mittens, and our scarves. I wore blouses and panties and even bras made from bleached flour and sugar sacks. Yes, sugar and flour used to come in cotton sacks. You even saved the string with which the sacks were sewn to use for later projects. During the spring and summer, she planted a very large garden and canned and dried every kind of fruit and vegetable you can imagine. Besides the garden, there was a peach orchard, a berry patch, an apple, and a pear tree. We prayed that they produced mightily each year. Wild berries and nuts were picked amid all the snakes and chiggers, and she expected help from the youngest to the eldest at home. Mother believed if she did not can at least 1,000 quarts of fruit and vegetables, we would go hungry before the new garden came on in the spring. My mother raised chickens, turkeys, guineas, and sold eggs and cream for cash money to buy the food stuff that we could not raise on the farm, and still found time to play ball in the yard and checkers and anagrams and other games in the house with us kids. Dad had to teach us kids to swim because Mama got dizzy when she got in water over her knees. I felt special because she also took time to make clothes for my doll, Toodles Jr., which may have not have been a very big chore. I was the only one in our family to have or want a doll. She doctored all our cuts and bruises, the boys' broken bones, and there were plenty of them. Got up many a night to rub little brother's aching legs. Spent 6 weeks sitting in the old Johnson Hospital in Shue, nursing my brother Jim when the doctors had given up on him and said he could not possibly live. He died April 1998 at the age of 78. She prayed and cried through 4 years of war in the 40s, not just for her son, but for the neighbors' sons as well, and mourned for the one who did not return. I rarely heard my mother complain, even though she had plenty to complain about. She never traveled more than 50 miles from where she was born, saw her sisters and brothers rarely, and one winter when I was 11 years old, she could not even go to see us children in our school programs because she did not own a pair of shoes. She wore a pair of old blue felt house shoes inside and a pair of Daddy's gum boots when she had to go outside. I still think of her when I hear an old hymn she used to sing or some silly song she sang as kids, such as The Bear Went Over the Mountain or Mr. Frog Went A-Courtin', or my favorite, which was The Animal Fair. This doesn't begin to tell all about my mother. She was known all over Wilson County as that lovely lady with the beautiful hair. It was her one vanity, and she never cut it. My eldest brother, who will be 94 November the 29th, 2002, still gets tears in his eyes when he remembers the dress that he bought Mother to be buried in. It was the first bought and dress she had had in her 55 years on this earth. I don't want you to think harshly of my dad. He did the best he could with what he had, and when he was sick and about to die, he said that he didn't mind dying as he wanted to see Mama again and tell her he loved her, and he hadn't told her enough while she lived. In 2014, my cousin Marion Fales told me his mother thought my mother was the most wonderful person she ever knew. In October 2014, my niece Shirley, my brother Bernie's daughter, who is 9 years younger than me, visited. While telling of visits to the farm when she was young, Mama died when she was 8 years old. She told me her mother, Sally, said, that my mother was the most wonderful person she had ever known. She also said what I had heard Sally say in 1946 as she helped care for Mama after her stroke, that she was as firm and her legs were smooth with no broken veins. I got mixed up on what I wrote there. I don't know what it means. No broken veins as a young person. I think a gift from God because she carried 12 babies and she had such a hard life. That's it.